Hey, this is the old gaming geezer, and if you remember from last time, we had Arid Kerman stuck in orbit on a ship that didn't seem to be working due to some sort of software glitch. This required a major reboot of the entire system, and finally everything started working. And he decides to bring the whole thing down in the middle of the desert, away from the possibility of landing in the water, because we need to check this system. We need to check it all out. Now, we want to save as much of the ship as we can here, so I've got parachutes on both the command pod and the service module, so they're both coming down now. The service module is obviously a hell of a lot lighter than the command pod because it's falling a hell of a lot slower. I don't know, maybe I suppose the weight of the... Oh, there they go, that's funny. And so we're coming down now. We're going to land very quickly on the ground and hopefully keep the ship intact when we hit. And there goes an explosion. So we didn't quite keep the ship intact, and it looks like we only lost one of the lights on the side. So hopefully... And this time... Ooh, okay, that time we lost nothing. The last time we landed this exact same... service module, we lost the poodle engine, but this time it was okay. I put some more parachutes on it this time. So Eric gets out, he does a little science, and he gonna take a surface sample. He's gonna EVA report. Yeah, just checking all that stuff out, and he's going to plant a flag. Now, I obviously haven't been to this area of Kerbal before, so I figure I'm going to have to come back here at some point in the future. Probably not this episode. Come back at some point in the future with some goo canisters, some science juniors, and all of my other science gear. But that's for another mission sometime in the future. Yes, it is. And so for our next mission, we're using the contract from the fine print mod, and we need to go out and do a little flying, but the flying is only to get us to where we need to be. Now, as we found out in the last few days, the Spaceplane Plus mod is going to be part of the next version of the game. It's going to be stock. It's been bought out by Squad, and it's going to be an official piece. So I decided I would start using a little bit of it here. Now, that's a very odd-looking plane, and I'm going over to the other side of the planet there, to that red dot. It doesn't really seem to have a fuselage. It just has two fuel tanks, engines, and just like a big girder in the middle. Well, that girder is there to hold the cargo. This is actually a cargo plane, and I am flying it out halfway across the planet, over the ocean to the east of the KSC, to the next continent over, and I've got to land over there, and we'll see what happens when we get over there. Now, this plane I threw together really fast, and I had a lot of problems with it because something's going on with my Kerbal Space program. It's we're getting a lot of crashes, a lot of instability in the software, so I'm not really sure why that is. Now, it's not the Spaceplane Plus mod, because it started happening before I installed the Spaceplane Plus mod. Maybe I've got too many mods in there, I'm not really sure. I don't have that many. So we're flying this plane, and it's not flying particularly well. As you can see, the nose just keeps wanting to dip down, and I keep having to pull it back up. And there we are, beautiful sunrise, trying to have a look out from inside. The cockpit of this thing is really, really nice. I'm afraid I didn't really take a good look at it in the video. But, yeah, I was trying to look out the front windscreen there, but it wouldn't let me do it. But we're flying over the ocean, and we're flying really, really fast. And in a sec now, we're going to see the map, and we're going to see where we're going. So those red dots there, they're nav points that I have to drive through. And there's the Fargonet. Excuse me, the Fargonet out in orbit above us. So we're flying along. We're getting a lot of Mach effects as we go very, very fast. And very, very soon, we're going to have some flash heating effects as we go even faster through the thick atmosphere. Now, this plane is comprised of two of those ramjet engines, and we've got a couple of B9 Aerospace air intakes and a couple other air intakes. It's a bit of an air hog, but you know what? It works. And we're getting close now. You can see the mountains on the horizon of the continent that we're flying towards. So we're trying to get to there now, and our fuel situation is really good. I've got to fly and land over by those mountains over there, so I'm beginning to start to I'm trying to keep my altitude at this point because it's too early to start slowing down. There you can see on the map where I need to get to. And that's where we're going to get to. And so now we're coming over the mountains, and we're going to land in that dip over there, that sort of valley there between those mountains. Now, what is on this airplane? Well, what's on the airplane is a small rover, very simply a 6-wheel rover, because I've got to drive through around these mountains to drive through some nav points. It's a very standard mission in the fine print mod, but this is the first time I've had to do it on Kerbal, and I had to go a long way to get there. Probably not quite as far as I had to get to Minmus when I did this, but I figure, you know, Kerbal is kind of harder because gravity is much higher, and well, I had to build a plane, obviously, to bring my rover over there. Well, I could have built a rocket, I suppose, but I figured I'd build a plane. I'd test out these new parts, the Spaceplane Plus parts, and here I'm coming in to bring it down for a landing. I thought briefly about doing it from inside the cockpit, but because of the problems I'm having with the windows of the Spaceplane Plus cockpit, it wasn't going to work. So I figured I'm going to try and get this thing down really, really softly. Now, I'm flaring now to slow myself down, to slow my descent, and bang! I hit the ground too hard, and I smashed the plane. And the rover is jammed in under the back of the fuselage. I'm trying to. There's a decoupler in there, which I tried to see could I decouple, but obviously I couldn't. And the cockpit is wobbling around the place as well. Now the cockpit is upside down, so I used the internal torque of the cockpit to turn it right the back way, the way it should be. And so it's okay. We're gonna go be okay. I'm gonna go over there now with this little Kerbal here. I can't remember which one this is. I think it's Arid Kerbal again. He's gonna go over and he's gonna check out, see can I actually get into one of the command seats that are on the rover, and I managed to get in and get close enough so I can get on. So that means I can decouple it. And of course Arid drops out of the seat as soon as I decouple it. But you know, that's okay. He's back in anyway. And so now I am trying to use the rover wheels, trying to drive out from underneath this thing. Now, you may have spotted the problem, but it took me a few minutes to spot the problem. So I get the next Kerbal out, and of course the whole cockpit goes flying off in the wrong direction, but that's okay. So I get my next Kerbal out. This is Camden's Kerbal, I think. Right, both of them are in, and I'm trying to get the rover to go, and I think, oh, I've been hit with another bug. No, not another bug. I just can't seem to figure out what's going on. I'm sure you've probably seen it at this point, but you know, checking all the wheels, make sure they got power, everything's got power, it's all good, there's no damage to the rover. I don't know what's going on. And then as I turn off the lights, I think I saw, no, I didn't see. Oh, well, I didn't see. But I'm still trying to figure it out, and there, I spotted it. The brakes were on. I am such a fucking numpty. But anyway, the rover comes out, it's looking good, driving around. It's great. Okay, so now we got to figure out where all these nav points are, and we got to drive to them. And so we start to drive, and it's at this point that the Kraken awaits. The Kraken strikes as we approach our first nav point, and you can see the game has started to pause every few seconds. I'm trying to figure out why it's pausing, what it's doing, and how I can, you know, fix it. Is there something going on? And then bang, crash. But eventually, after many restarts and many trials and many attempts and what have you, I finally got it working again. And the following little piece of this involves many shots of the rover driving up hills, because these points were up on the top of mountains generally. So I had to drive up a lot of hills and go sideways to try and get up. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There were some incidents that involved quick saving. There was this one, which was quite fun. Lots of explosions, which is good. There was also this one, which was also quite fun. But you know, those were getting in the way of completing the mission. So, And so, avid, lots of use of quick loading here managed to complete this mission. And complete it I did as we drive back down the mountain and across the grassy plains. Our two boys should be happy in the knowledge that they have completed the mission that they set out to do. All they did was destroy a plane in the process and have to drive up a lot of mountains. But they did it. They completed it. They are heroes. Kerbal Heroes, God damn it! And here's 3 more heroes. Obzer, Shepin, and Bilgan Kerman as they prepare to burn hard for Eeloo, the most distant planet in the Kerbal system. Now, to get out there, it's going to take a huge amount of burning to get out there on these 2 small nuclear engines. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little trick from physics. We're going to burn out a little bit, and then we're going to stop burning, and we're going to go around the planet Kerbal and come back, and we're going to burn again at our closest point, which will give us more energy. Well, it won't give us more energy, but it will. What this is called the Oberth effect, and what it means is if you burn fuel and create thrust at the lowest point in your orbit, the point where you're already moving the fastest, then you're moving the fastest at the lowest point, so you have a lot of kinetic energy. You've got the kinetic energy of the ship and of the fuel. So then when you start burning the fuel, you're releasing the potential energy of the fuel. Now you add that to the kinetic energy you already have, but because you've burned the fuel, you already have the kinetic energy of the fuel before you burned it. And so you go faster. It makes the ship travel faster. Well, it doesn't make the ship travel faster. It allows the ship to go faster with less fuel, and it's a method. I don't know if it's actually ever been used in real life, but the game here uses this method. This system is in the game, and it works pretty well. So it means that I'm going to be able to get out to Eeloo with using a little less fuel than I normally would, and I'm burning again to get out there, and this takes a long time. It took me, I don't know, maybe about half an hour or an hour to burn all this fuel to get out to Eeloo. And I went around the planet about maybe 7 or 8 times, making the apoapsis higher each time and coming back down and burning at the periapsis. And again, I ran into some problems with the stability of the game, because at a certain point I actually ended up in the atmosphere, even though I wasn't lowering my periapsis at all. I was making sure that my periapsis stayed high, but something strange happened. I'm not really sure what it was, but I ended up quite low into the atmosphere, and I don't know why. But eventually I got out, and I just had to burn and burn and burn to get an Eeloo encounter, and eventually I got it, and it was a tough one, and it's going to take a long time for these boys to get out to Eeloo, a long time. It's probably about 2.5 years journey to get out to Eeloo. And in the meantime, our guys who are already on their way to Duna will probably already be home by the time Shepin, Obzer, and Bilgan get to Eeloo. Never mind, get back to it. So that's where we are at the moment, burning away, trying to get to Eeloo. And so we're coming here close to, we're about to drop our first drop tank, and there she goes, drop tank away. So now we're a little bit lighter, so hopefully that will mean that we move a little bit faster, and we're trying to get out further. This thing is rising up. Our periapsis over the sun is rising really slowly. I'm playing all this back at double speed, but this took a long time to get out, a long time. I keep, watching it and, checking where my ascending node is and watching where it's going. But, it just takes so much time. And I don't even know how long it's going to take to actually get out there. On fast forward mode, it's probably going to take half an hour to, time acceleration mode in game to get out there. But I'm not going to be doing that. Well, I will be doing that a bit, obviously. Because I've got my Duna guys out there, so I probably will fast forward to them at some point. But I'm looking at I don't understand what the Kerbal engineer is telling me at this point, because it seems like the numbers just don't make any sense to me. I'm not really sure why that is. But here we are, we're getting close now to our apoapsis is getting close to Eeloo's Eeloo's altitude over the sun at this point. Eeloo's in a very inclined and slightly eccentric orbit, so it's in different places at different times. So I'm trying to now adjust my my orbit at the ascending node, so I can get an encounter. Now, as you can see there, my launch window was off by a little bit, but eventually, after mucking around with my maneuver nodes a little bit, I get an encounter. Almost get an encounter. So close. There we go. Flashed on there. So we've got an encounter with Eeloo now. And that is a maneuver I will be making, course correction I'll be making at the ascending node in a few days' time. And we're on our way. We're on our way to Eeloo. Got loads of fuel left in this thing. I just hope I've got enough to get back. I'm going to use quite a bit to do that plane change maneuver, but well, I knew that when I was going. That's why this thing carried so much fuel. Well, hopefully I got enough. Hopefully these guys are going to be okay. And we're going to see more of that in the next episode. This is the old gaming geezer. I'm going to sign off. Good night, farewell. If you like this video, hit like below. If you really like this video, subscribe. You know the score at this point. Bye-bye.